Hi everyone, this is your host Anubodhu. Welcome back to our channel Know Your Industry. If you have been following us for the last few videos, you would have seen that we were continuing our journey in the insurance industry so far. We have gone through multiple topics in different videos around life insurance and different types of general insurance. Today, for the first time, we will be foraying into a new industry. We would be actually looking at three domains within the industry, which we call communications, media, and telecom. And often we look at the industry in a whole, but obviously there are different nuances and different constructs to the individual domains. And today we would be looking at that. Without any ado, we would go into the first domain, which is communications. So as you see here, communications is broken up into three topics, right? Or three, subdomains or sub-industries within communications. The first thing is telecommunication services, right? So communication providers, they provide wired, wireless, satellite, and different kinds of broadcasting services. Companies in this sector, they provide internet services, cellular services, telephone services, so on and so forth, right? So those kind of providers or companies fall under telecommunication services. The second one is network infrastructure, right? People who provide hardware and software resources for an entire network, right? That enables the network connectivity, communications, operations, and all. Right, so this includes broadband networks, again cellular networks, data transmission networks, etc. Right, so companies who provide these entire infrastructure, the end-to-end infrastructure for the communication to happen for data or for cellular network or for broadband network to reach from one place to another, those companies fall under the category of network infrastructure companies, right? And then there is a third type of companies who are cloud service providers, right? So they are the people who provide, the cloud, space for hosting and for your technology services, right? That allow data and software to be accessed over the internet, right? So the cloud providers or the cloud service providers, they are the third category of companies within communication. So communication industry as a whole is broken down into these three type of players or three type of companies, and we would slowly look at what are the examples of these types of companies. So first we were talking about telecommunication service providers. In US, the top two providers are AT&T and Verizon. In UK, the top provider is Vodafone. Similarly, in India, the top provider today is Jio, right? Followed by Airtel and Vodafone, right? Vodafone Idea. Now, the second category we were talking about in our previous slide is network infrastructure providers, right? So as you all know, Cisco Systems is the leading network provider in this category, followed by Ericsson and Nokia as well. So Cisco specializes in network hardware, software, and telecommunication equipment, whereas Ericsson and Nokia, they provide equipment and services predominantly for the telecommunications industry, right? So these companies fall under network infrastructure providers. And cloud services, as we all know, so there are three leading cloud service providers in the industry. The first one being AWS, Amazon Web Services. They offer cloud computing service and hosting. Microsoft Azure, they also provide a wide range of cloud services. And we also have GCP, which is the Google Cloud provider. So these are the three types of companies within the communication industry. Now we would look at the second domain we would talk about today, which is media, right? Now, if you look at media is broken up again into three types of companies, right? The first type are people who do content creation, right? So this involves production of material for distribution through different media channels, including digital as well as traditional formats. So anybody who are into content creation, be it in a physical format or in a digital format, will be categorized as a content creator. The second type is the publishing and the broadcasting companies, who are the traditional distribution of content providers like television, radio, print. So these are primarily these companies fall under publishing and broadcasting companies. And the third, which is the latest category, where all these OTT and the digital platform and our social media, etc., falls into, is the digital media, right? Which focuses on content that is digital in nature, such as streaming services, digital downloads, online media platforms, so on and so forth, right? So again, if anybody asks you that what is media, or what kind of companies comprise a media industry, we can say it can be categorized into three divisions: content creation companies, publishing and broadcasting companies, and digital media companies. Examples of content creators, we all know Disney, Netflix, Hotstar, etc. These are content creators, right? So where new kind of contents like television programs, series, streaming contents, etc. So those kind of contents are being provided by Disney. Again, Netflix is also a internationally leading content creator. Publishing and broadcasting, this is again the traditional media of communications. One of the leading in this space is BBC. We also, I mean, all the leading newspapers, for every country also fall. Why would I say leading? All the newspapers actually fall under this category. The television, the radio, and all the traditional publishing and broadcasting media fall under this category, right? Comcast is another good example. And digital media, right? So digital media, so all the our Spotify's of the world, which provides digital music, podcast, video streaming services, etc. They fall under the digital media, right? Or Tencent Music, right? Which is one of the leading digital media in China, falls under this category. So these are the examples of the three types of companies that fall under the media domain. We would now look into the telecom domain, right? So when we talk about the telecom domain, that can be categorized or broken down into these three type of companies. The first one being service providers. So they are the people who are providing the services, right, for the voice and data services via mobile and fixed networks. Again, the second one is the equipment and the infrastructure providers, right? People who provide the network routers, the fiber optic cables, the mobile devices, so on and so forth, which helps in, which is the core of the devices part of the telecom industry. And the third are the regulators, right? So any regulators who provide regulations and policies. So telecommunications across the world in most of the countries is a heavily regulated industry due to importance of maintaining fair access and competitive markets. And so we would see that there are few leading regulators in different geographies. Some of the examples of service providers in US, T-Mobile is one of the leading service providers in the telecom industry. Deutsche Telekom in Germany is a leading company. Then in Europe, we have other leading companies like Vodafone, like Orange. Similarly, in Africa, Latin America, etc., we have different other providers. Equipment and infrastructure providers, Qualcomm in USA is the leader, which designs and markets a wireless telecommunication providers. Huawei in China, we all know, provides telecommunication equipment and sells consumer electronics, including smartphones, etc. So they are the equipment and infrastructure providers in the telecom industry. And I was talking about the regulators. So if you see Federal Communications Commission in USA and the European Telecommunication Standard Institute, ETSI, they are some of the leading regulators in the telecom industry. Now, apart from these three types of domains, that is telecom, communications, and media, we would also see that what are the cross-sector technologies and trends in this industry. So obviously we all know that the entire world and most of the countries and service providers, they're moving from 4G LTE to 5G, right, and beyond. So rollout of 5G networks is something that is going on in most of the countries where telecom is widely accepted and is growing. Then Internet of Things is another hot topic, and we would see there are certain companies who are specializing in this space, and especially all the smart cities and all the government infrastructure where the usage of telecom, usage of media is increasing. Their Internet of Things is becoming a big thing, right? Because through different equipments, networks are being circulated, and people are taking advantage of the networks getting widely circulated in different geographies. And then cybersecurity, with all this increasing amount of data being processed, cybersecurity is a crucial concern, right, across all facets of this the overall industry we are talking today. Before ending, looking at some of the examples of these kind of services that we are talking about, so 5G and beyond, Samsung is one of the leading companies which is engaging in manufacturing of 5G equipment as well as mobile devices that support 5G technology. IoT, I mean, providing Internet of Things services. Honeywell is one of the leading IoT solution providers, which provides services like safety, security, energy, etc. Cybersecurity, Palo Alto Networks is specializing in advanced cybersecurity solutions, including firewalls, cloud-based offerings, etc. So these are some of the examples of companies who are working across the CMT industry, providing latest technologies and infrastructure. So that is all we wanted to cover in this video. We covered the essentially the construct of the CMT industry and how media, communications, and telecom are broken down into subcategories, and we looked into the example companies of each of the categories. Thank you for listening in. In our next video, we would look at the key performance indicators of this industry, and we would break down the KPIs into different components. Hope to see you in that video, and thank you.